Jake Morrison stood at the window of his ship and looked at Earth. The blue planet was getting bigger as they got closer. He had never seen it before, but he knew this was his real home. His parents had told him stories about Earth when he was a child. Now, after 300 years, humans were finally coming back. The ship was called Nightfall. It was painted black and had special machines that made it invisible to enemy sensors. 50 of the best humans from all the colonies were on board. Each person had been picked for their special skills. They all knew this mission could change everything for their people. Jake touched the glass and felt cold. Earth looked so peaceful from space, but he knew the truth. Aliens called the Zephyrians now lived there. They had taken over Earth after. They thought all humans were dead. The aliens had built their biggest cities where human cities used to be. They used Earth as the center of their huge empire. Dr. Lisa Carter walked up to Jake. She was a smart woman who studied alien life. Her job was to watch the machines that kept their ship hidden. She looked worried as she checked her computer screen. "The cloaking system is working fine," she said, "but I'm seeing a lot of alien ships around Earth. More than we expected." Jake nodded. He had been afraid of this. The Zephyrians had made Earth into a fortress. Getting close would be dangerous, but they had no choice. This was the only way to save their people. Captain Ben Hughes was talking into his radio in the next room. He was trying to contact the humans who still lived on Earth in secret. These people had been hiding for 300 years. They had children and grandchildren who had never known freedom, but they had never given up hope that other humans would return. "I'm getting signals from the underground network," Ben said. When he finished his call, "They're still there, still waiting for us." Jake felt his heart beat faster. For 300 years, people had said humans were extinct. The galaxy believed the Zephyrians had killed every last human during the Great Purge, but it was all a lie. Humans had learned to hide. They had built secret bases in empty space. They had lived in asteroid fields where no one would look. And some had stayed on Earth, hiding in plain sight. The ship moved closer to Earth. Jake could see the alien cities now. They were huge and ugly. Metal towers reached up into the sky. The cities covered places where human cities used to be. New York, London, Tokyo, all of them were gone. In their place were alien buildings with strange shapes and colors. "Look at what they did to our world," Lisa said. She sounded angry and sad at the same time. Jake put his hand on her shoulder. "We'll fix it," he said. "That's why we're here." The ship entered Earth's atmosphere. Jake felt the ship shake a little as it cut through the air. The cloaking system was working perfectly. No alarms were going off. The aliens had no idea humans were coming home. Amy Foster was waiting for them in the hidden base under the old subway tunnels. She had been born on Earth and had never left. Her great-grandfather had been one of the humans who chose to stay behind when the others escaped. Her family had spent 4 generations preparing for this day. Jake's team landed in a secret spot in the mountains. The ship was completely invisible, even to human eyes. They walked through the forest until they found a hidden door in the side of a hill. Amy was waiting for them there. "Welcome home," she said with a smile. But Jake could see tears in her eyes. They followed Amy through long tunnels that went deep underground. The tunnels were old but clean. Machines hummed softly, providing air and light. Jake was amazed at how well the hidden base was built. These people had spent 300 years getting ready for this moment. The main room of the base was huge. Computers lined the walls. Maps of Earth covered every surface. Jake could see that the hidden humans had been very busy. They knew everything about the aliens, where they lived, how many there were, what kind of weapons they had. "We never stopped watching," Amy said. "We never stopped preparing." We knew you would come back someday. Dr. Paul Green was the leader of the humans who had stayed on Earth. He was an old man with white hair and kind eyes. He had spent his whole life working on ways to keep humans hidden from the aliens. We've learned so much, Paul said. The aliens think they know everything about Earth, but they don't know about us. We've been right under their noses for 300 years. Jake looked at the maps and information. The aliens had turned Earth into the center of their empire. Every important decision was made here. Every military plan started here. If humans could take back Earth, they could break the alien empire, but it would not be easy. The aliens were strong and had advanced weapons. They had millions of soldiers. Their ships could destroy entire planets. Jake's team had only 50 people, and the hidden humans on Earth had maybe a few thousand. How many of you are there? Jake asked. More than you think, Amy said. We've been very careful. We've had children and taught them to hide. We've gotten jobs working for the aliens. We've learned their language and their customs. Some of us have been hiding for so long that even we sometimes forget we're human. Jake felt hope growing in his chest. Maybe they really could do this. Maybe they could take back their homeworld. The next few days were busy. Jake's team met with the hidden humans and learned about life on Earth under alien rule. They studied the alien cities and found weak points. They practiced moving through the tunnels and learning the secret paths. But as they planned, Jake began to understand how big this job really was. The aliens had been on Earth for 300 years. They had built their entire empire around this planet. Taking it back would be like trying to remove the heart from a living body. Still, they had to try. Earth was humanity's birthplace. It was where their species had started. If they could free their homeworld, they could show the galaxy that humans were not dead. They could prove that no one could destroy the human spirit. The mission was just beginning, but Jake already knew it. Would change everything. One way or another, the galaxy would learn that humanity had returned from the shadows. Amy Foster crawled through the narrow tunnel beneath the city that used to be called New York. The aliens had renamed it Zephyr Prime, and it was now the most important city on Earth. Above her head, millions of aliens walked the streets, never knowing that humans were still alive below them. Amy had been born in these tunnels 25 years ago. Her mother had given birth to her in a hidden room deep underground. Amy had never seen the real surface of Earth until she was 16 years old. When she finally went up, she had to wear a special mask that made her look like one of the aliens. Tunnel was getting smaller, so Amy had to crawl on her hands and knees. She was carrying important information to the main base. Her job was to watch the aliens and report what they were doing. She had learned to move through the tunnels without making any sound. She could disappear into the shadows when alien guards came too close. After an hour of crawling, Amy reached a hidden door. She knocked 3 times, waited, then knocked twice more. The door opened, and she crawled through into a larger room. This was one of the many secret bases that humans had. Built under the alien cities. Dr. Paul Green was waiting for her. He was the smartest person Amy had ever met. He had spent his whole life studying the aliens and finding ways to fight them. Paul had gray hair and wore thick glasses. His hands were always dirty from working with chemicals and machines. "What did you learn today?" Paul asked. Amy pulled out a small device from her pocket. It looked like a normal alien tool, but it was actually a human invention. It could record everything the aliens said and did without them knowing. "The aliens are planning something big," Amy said. "I heard them talking about a new project. They're going to dig deeper into the Earth's core." Paul's face went pale. He had been afraid of this for years. The aliens were not just living on Earth. They were taking something from it. They had machines that went deep into the planet and sucked out energy. Paul had been trying to figure out what they were really doing. How much deeper? Paul asked. I don't know exactly, Amy said, but they seemed excited about it. They said it would give them enough power to control the whole galaxy. Paul walked over to his computer and started typing. The screen showed a map of Earth's interior. Red dots marked all the places where the aliens had dug down into the planet. There were hundreds of them all over the world. We need to tell Jake and his team about this, Paul said. This could be worse than we thought. Amy nodded. She had met Jake Morrison and his people from the space colonies. They seemed strong and brave, but she wondered if they really understood what they were up against. The aliens had been on Earth for 300 years. They had built their entire empire here. Getting them to leave would be almost impossible. But Amy had hope. For the first time in her life, she felt like maybe humans could win. Jake's people had brought new technology and new ideas. They had weapons that could work against the aliens. And they had something else. They had the determination to take back their Homeworld. Amy left Paul's lab and walked through the main tunnel system. The tunnels connected all the major cities on Earth. Humans could travel from one side of the planet to the other without ever going to the surface. It had taken 300 years to build this network, and it was humanity's greatest achievement. The tunnels were lit by soft blue lights that the aliens couldn't see. Human eyes had changed over the years. Living in darkness for so long had made them better at seeing in low light. Amy could see perfectly in the tunnels, but she would have trouble seeing in bright sunlight. She passed other humans as she walked. There were families with children, old people who remembered the early days of hiding, and young people like herself who had been born underground. Everyone had a job to do. Some watched the aliens and gathered information. Others worked on improving their technology. Some grew food in hidden gardens. Everyone was important. Amy's grandmother, Helen Price, was working in the main computer room. Helen was very old now, but she was still one of the smartest people in the underground network. She had helped design the tunnel system and the computers. That kept track of everything the aliens did. Amy, dear, Helen said when she saw her, come and look at this. Helen showed Amy a screen full of numbers and symbols. Amy couldn't understand most of it, but she could see that something was wrong. The aliens are using more power than ever before, Helen said. Look at these readings from the past month. They're taking something from deep inside the Earth, and they're taking more of it every day. Amy felt scared. What do you think they're doing? I don't know yet, Helen said. But whatever it is, it's not good for Earth. The planet is getting weaker. I can feel it in the ground beneath us. That night, Amy met with other young humans who worked as spies on the surface. There was Kevin Brooks, who worked in an alien factory. There was Mary Davis, who cleaned buildings in the alien government district. And there was Tony Clark, who had the most dangerous job of all. He worked as a guard in one of the alien military bases. The aliens are getting nervous about something, Kevin said. They're working longer hours in the factory. They're building more weapons and more ships. Mary nodded. I heard some of the alien officials talking. They mentioned something about a final phase of their plan. They seemed excited, but also worried. Tony looked around to make sure no one was listening. Even in the secret base, they had to be careful. I saw something strange at the military base, he said quietly. They brought in a new machine. It was huge and covered with strange symbols. They put it in the deepest part of the base, where only the most important aliens are allowed to go. Amy felt a chill run down her spine. All of these reports pointed to the same thing. The aliens were preparing for something big. And whatever it was, it involved taking more from Earth itself. The next day, Amy met with Jake Morrison and his team. They had set up a temporary base in an old subway station that had been abandoned for 300 years. The place was dark and dusty, but it was safe from alien detection. "We need to know more about what the aliens are doing," Jake said. "Your grandmother's computer readings match what our scientists found. The aliens are draining something from Earth's core." Captain Ben Hughes was studying maps of the alien cities. "We've identified 47 major facilities that seem to be connected to this project. If we could hit all of them at the same time, we might be able to stop whatever they're planning." Amy looked at the maps. The alien facilities were spread all over the world. Some were on the surface, but many were deep underground. Getting to all of them would require hundreds of people and perfect timing. "Can we do it?" Amy asked. Jake looked at her with serious eyes. "We have to try. This is our only chance to save Earth." Dr. Lisa Carter was working with Paul Green to understand the alien technology. They had spent days studying the devices that Amy and the other spies had brought back from the surface. "The aliens are definitely taking something from Earth," Lisa said. "But it's not just energy. They're taking something much more basic, something that holds the planet together." Paul nodded grimly. "If they keep doing this, Earth will eventually fall apart. The planet will die, and everything on it will die too." Amy felt tears coming to her eyes. Earth was the only home she had ever known. The thought of losing it was too terrible to imagine. But then she looked around at all the humans in the base. They had survived for 300 years by never giving up hope. They had built an entire civilization in secret, right under the noses of their enemies. If anyone could save Earth, it was them. "What do we need to do?" Amy asked. Jake smiled for the first time since she had met him. "We need to show the galaxy that humans are not extinct. We need to prove that no one can destroy our spirit. And we need to take back our homeworld." The underground network was ready. 300 years of preparation had led to this moment. Amy knew that the coming battle would be the most important fight in human history. But she also knew that they were ready for it. The shadows that had hidden humanity for so long were about to become their greatest weapon. Ryan Cole stared at the alien machine with growing horror. He had been working on captured Zephyrian technology for 3 days, trying to understand how their power systems worked. What he found was worse than anything he had imagined. Ryan was the best engineer among the humans who had returned from the space colonies. He could take apart any machine and understand how it worked. But this alien device was different. It was connected to something deep underground, and the energy readings made no sense. "This is impossible," Ryan said to himself. He checked his instruments again, but the numbers were the same. The aliens were not just taking heat from Earth's core. They were taking something much more important. Dr. Helen Price walked into the workshop. Helen was Amy's grandmother and one of the smartest people in the underground network. She had been studying the alien power systems for years, but she had never seen anything like this. "What did you find?" Helen asked. Ryan showed her the computer screen. "Look at these energy readings. The aliens are pulling power from Earth, but they're not just taking thermal energy. They're taking gravitational energy." Helen's eyes went wide. "That's not possible. Gravity isn't something you can just drain away." "I thought so too," Ryan said. "But look at this." He pointed to a graph on the screen. "The gravitational field around Earth is getting weaker. It's happening so slowly that no one would notice it for years. But it's definitely happening." Helen sat down heavily in a chair. She had spent her whole life studying alien technology, but she had never imagined they could do something like this. "How long have they been doing this?" "According to these readings, they started about 50 years ago," Ryan said. "But they've been increasing the rate every year. At this pace, Earth's gravitational field will collapse in about 100 years. "What happens then?" Helen asked, though she was afraid to hear the answer. The planet falls apart, Ryan said quietly. Without gravity to hold it together, Earth will break into pieces. Everything on it will die. Helen felt sick. She had always known the aliens were dangerous, but she had never thought they would try to destroy Earth completely. We have to tell the others, she said. They called an emergency meeting in the main base. Jake Morrison, Amy Foster, Dr. Paul Green, and all the other leaders gathered around the big table in the command center. Ryan showed them his findings, and the room fell silent. You're saying the aliens are eating our planet? Amy asked. Not eating, Ryan said. Draining. They're turning Earth's gravitational field into energy to power their empire. Every ship they build, every weapon they make, every city they power, it all comes from our planet's life force. Jake stood up and walked to the big map of Earth on the wall. The map showed all the alien facilities around the world. Now it made sense why there were so many of them, and why they were all connected to deep underground systems. How many facilities are involved in this? Jake asked. All of them, Helen said. Every major alien base on Earth is connected to the gravitational extraction system. It's like a giant network that covers the whole planet. Dr. Paul Green had been quiet during the whole meeting. Now he spoke up. I've been afraid of something like this for years. I've noticed that the ground feels different than it used to. The earthquakes are getting stronger. The weather is changing in ways that don't make sense. Can we stop it? Amy asked. Ryan shook his head. Not easily. The system is too big and too complex. Even if we could shut down all the facilities at once, the damage to Earth's core might already be too great to reverse. How much time do we have? Jake asked. If they keep increasing the extraction rate, maybe 50 years before the damage becomes irreversible, Ryan said. But if they speed up the process, it could be much less. The room was quiet for a long time. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. They had come to Earth to free their homeworld from alien occupation. But now they learned that the aliens were slowly killing the planet itself. Captain Van Hughes broke the silence. We need to contact the other human colonies. Every human in the galaxy needs to know about this. What good will that do? Amy asked. Even if every human comes to help, we're still outnumbered 1,000,000 to 1. Because this isn't just about Earth anymore, Jake said. If the aliens can drain the gravitational field of one planet, they can do it to others. Every world in the galaxy is in danger. Dr. Lisa Carter had been working with alien prisoners that the underground network had captured over the years. She had learned to speak their language and understand their culture. Now she brought new information to the meeting. I questioned the alien prisoners about the gravitational extraction, Lisa said. Most of them don't know what it really does. They just know it provides power for their empire. But one of them, a high-ranking officer, told me something interesting. What did he say? Jake asked. He said this isn't the first planet they've done this to. They've drained the gravitational fields of dozens of worlds. They call it stellar harvesting. It's how they power their expansion across the galaxy. Amy felt anger growing in her chest. So they're not just occupying planets, they're murdering them. That's exactly what they're doing, Lisa said. And Earth is just the latest victim. Ryan was studying the alien device again. There might be a way to stop it, he said slowly. But it would be extremely dangerous. What do you mean? Helen asked. The gravitational extraction system is all connected, Ryan explained. If we could overload the main control center, we might be able to cause a feedback loop that would destroy the entire network. Where is the main control center? Jake asked. Under the city that used to be Geneva, Ryan said. It's in the deepest part of the alien complex there. Getting to it would be almost impossible. Paul looked at the maps and computer readouts. Even if we could get there, what would happen to Earth? Would the gravitational field return to normal? I don't know, Ryan admitted. The damage might be too great. But if we don't try, Earth will definitely die. Jake looked around the room, at all the faces. These people had spent their whole lives preparing for this moment. They had survived 3 centuries of hiding and waiting. Now they faced the greatest challenge in human history. There's something else we need to consider, Helen said. The aliens have been preparing for something. All our spies report increased activity. They're building more ships and weapons. They're moving troops around. They're getting ready for their final phase, Amy said. Whatever that means. Lisa nodded. The alien officer I questioned mentioned something called the Great Harvest. He said it would happen soon, and after that, they would have enough power to control the entire galaxy. The Great Harvest, Jake repeated. That doesn't sound good. I think it means they're going to speed up the gravitational extraction, Ryan said. Instead of taking 100 years to drain Earth, they might do it in just a few years. The room fell silent again. The situation was even worse than they had thought. Not only were the aliens slowly killing Earth, but they were about to speed up the process. We need to act fast, Jake said. How long would it take to plan an attack on all the alien facilities? With the underground network helping us, maybe a few weeks, Ben said. But it would have to be perfectly coordinated. If even one facility stays active, they could warn the others. Amy stood up. Then we better get started. Every day we wait is another day closer to Earth's death. Jake nodded. This is bigger than just freeing our homeworld. This is about saving our planet from complete destruction. And if we can stop the aliens here, we might be able to save other worlds too. Dr. Paul Green was looking at the data on his computer screen. There's one more thing, he said. If we're going to do this, we need to understand that we might not survive. The aliens have been preparing for 300 years. They have weapons and defenses we can't even imagine. Then we'll have to be smarter than them, Amy said. We'll have to use the one advantage we have. They still don't know we exist. Ryan was already working on plans for the attack. If we can create a virus that targets their computer systems, we might be able to shut down their defenses long enough to get inside. And if we can coordinate attacks on all the facilities at once, they won't have time to respond, Jake added. Helen looked at her granddaughter Amy. This is what we've been preparing for all these years. This is why we never gave up hope. The meeting continued for hours as they planned the most important mission in human history. They would have to be perfect, brave, and lucky. But they had no choice. Earth was dying, and they were the only ones who could save it. The shadows that had hidden humanity for 3 centuries were about to become the weapon that would save their world. Jake Morrison stood in the old subway tunnel beneath Washington, D.C., and watched his team practice their special abilities. What he saw should have been impossible, but 300 years of hiding had changed humanity in ways no one expected. Sergeant Kate Davis was standing next to a solid concrete wall. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and walked straight through it. On the other side, she became solid again and waved at Jake. She had just passed through 3 feet of concrete as if it was made of air. How does it feel? Jake asked. When? Kate came back through the wall. Like swimming through thick water, Kate said. But I can only do it for about 30 seconds before I get tired. Jake nodded. All the humans from the space colonies had developed these strange abilities. Scientists called it quantum phasing, the ability to exist between the normal dimensions of space. It had started as a way to hide from alien sensors, but over time it had become something much more powerful. Dr. Helen Price was watching from her wheelchair. She was too old to phase through walls, but she had been the first to study these new human abilities. Your ancestors would be amazed, she said to Jake. 300 years ago, humans could only dream of doing such things. It's not magic, Jake said. It's evolution. When we had to hide to survive, our bodies learned new ways to exist. Ryan Cole was working on a different ability. He could make multiple copies of himself appear in different places at the same time. The copies were not real. They were like ghosts made of light. But they looked real enough to fool alien sensors and cameras. I can create 5 copies now, Ryan said. They can last for about 10 minutes each. But I can't make them do complicated things. They can only walk around and look real. Amy Foster was learning to become completely invisible. She could bend light around her body so that no one could see her. She could also become silent, so that even the most sensitive alien hearing could not detect her. The hardest part is remembering to breathe quietly, Amy said. When you're invisible, every little sound seems too loud. These abilities were humanity's greatest secret. The aliens had no idea that humans could do such things. For 300 years, humans had been evolving in secret, developing powers that seemed impossible. Now they were ready to use these abilities to save their homeworld. Dr. Paul Green had been working with the captured alien technology to understand their weaknesses. He found that the alien sensors were designed to detect normal matter and energy. They had no way to see humans who were phasing between dimensions. Their security systems are useless against us, Paul said. We can walk through their walls, become invisible to their cameras, and exist in multiple places at once. To them, we'll be like ghosts. Jake gathered his strike team leaders for the final briefing. There were 12 teams, each with 5 specially trained humans. They would attack 47 alien facilities around the world, all at the same time. This is called the Ghost Protocol, Jake said. We'll use our abilities to get inside the alien bases without being detected. Once we're in, we'll plant Dr. Lisa Carter's virus in their computer systems. Dr. Lisa Carter had spent weeks creating a special computer virus. It was designed to spread through the alien network and shut down their power systems. But it had to be uploaded directly to the main computers in each facility. The virus will not only shut down their systems, Lisa explained. It will also send a signal that will disable every alien ship in the solar system. But it only works if all the facilities are infected at the same time. Kate Davis was leading the team that would attack the main facility in Geneva. This was the most dangerous mission because it was the control center for the entire gravitational extraction system. Geneva is the most heavily guarded facility on Earth, Kate said, but it's also the most important. If we can shut down the main control center, we can stop the extraction process. Amy Foster would lead the team attacking the facility in New York. She knew the tunnel systems better than anyone, and she could guide her team through the underground passages without being seen. We'll use the old subway tunnels to get close, Amy said. Then we'll phase through the walls and get into the alien base from below. Each team had practiced their mission dozens of times. They knew exactly where to go and what to do. But they also knew that one mistake could ruin everything. Tony Clark had been working as a spy in the alien military base for years. He would help the strike team get inside by disabling the security systems from within. I've been mapping the base for 3 years, Tony said. I know where every guard is and when they change shifts. I can get you inside, but after that, you're on your own. The team spent the next week moving into position. They traveled through the underground tunnel network, staying hidden from alien patrols. Each team had to reach their target at exactly the right time. Jake's team was responsible for the facility in Moscow. It was one of the largest alien bases on Earth, with thousands of soldiers and advanced defense systems. Getting inside would require all of their abilities working together. Remember, Jake told his team, we're not trying to fight the aliens. We're trying to avoid them completely. Use your phasing abilities to get through their defenses. Use your invisibility to avoid. They're guards. And use your multiple copies to confuse their sensors. Kevin Brooks was on Jake's team. He had spent years working in alien factories, so he knew how their technology worked. His job was to find the main computer system and upload the virus. The alien computers are different from ours, Kevin explained. But I've studied them for years. Once I find the main system, I can upload the virus in less than 5 minutes. Mary Davis was the team scout. She could phase through walls and scout ahead to make sure the path was clear. She was also the fastest runner, so she could escape if something went wrong. I'll go first and mark the safe path, Mary said. Follow my signals and stay quiet. If we get separated, meet at the backup exit point. The night before the mission, Jake couldn't sleep. He walked through the tunnels beneath Washington, D.C., thinking about everything that had brought them to this moment. 300 years of hiding, 300 years of preparing, and now it all came down to one night Helen Price found him, sitting in the old subway station where they had first met. She rolled her wheelchair over and sat beside him. "Are you nervous?" she asked. "Terrified," Jake admitted. "If we fail, Earth dies. And if we succeed, we might still lose everything. The aliens won't just give up. They'll fight back with everything they have." Helen smiled. "My granddaughter Amy was born in these tunnels. She's never known freedom, but she's never stopped believing in it. That's what makes us human. We never give up hope, even when everything seems impossible." Jake looked at the old woman. She had spent her entire life fighting against the aliens, even when it seemed hopeless. What if our abilities aren't enough? What if we're not as invisible as we think? "Then we'll find another way," Helen said. "We always do. That's what we've been doing for 300 years. The aliens think they're so smart, but they don't understand the most important thing about humans." "What's that?" "We're survivors. We adapt, we overcome, and we never, ever give up." The next morning, all 12 strike teams were in position. Jake could feel the excitement and fear in the air. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. Amy Foster's voice came through the radio. "All teams, this is Control. Are you ready?" One by one, the team leaders reported in. They were all in position, hidden just outside their target facilities. The aliens had no idea what was about to happen. "Ghost Protocol is now active," Amy said. "All teams, begin your approach. Remember, we are the shadows that have protected humanity for 3 centuries. Tonight, we become the light that saves our world." Jake took a deep breath and looked at his team. They were all young, brave, and determined. They had spent their whole lives preparing for this moment. "Let's go. Save our planet," Jake said that the teams began to move. All around the world, humans were phasing through walls, becoming invisible, and creating multiple copies of themselves. They moved like ghosts through the alien bases, unseen and unheard. The Ghost Protocol had begun. After 300 years of hiding, humanity was finally ready to strike back. The aliens were about to learn that humans were not extinct. They were about to discover that the shadows they had ignored for so long were actually their greatest enemy, and they were about to find out that no one, not even the most powerful empire in the galaxy, could destroy the human spirit. The attack began at exactly 3 in the morning, Earth time. All around the world, human strike teams became visible for the first time in 300 years. But they appeared inside the most secure alien facilities in the galaxy, moving like ghosts through walls that were supposed to be impossible to pass. Jake Morrison phased through the outer wall of the Moscow facility and found himself in a corridor filled with sleeping alien guards. He moved silently past them, his body existing between dimensions so that their sensors couldn't detect him. Behind him, his team followed like shadows. The facility was huge, with dozens of levels going deep underground. Jake knew that the main computer system was on the lowest level, next to the gravitational extraction equipment. Getting there would require passing through 17 levels of security, each one more dangerous than the last. Kevin Brooks was carrying the virus that Dr. Lisa Carter had created. It was stored in a small device that looked like an ordinary alien tool. All Kevin had to do was plug it into the main computer system, and the virus would spread through the entire alien network. Mary Davis scouted ahead, phasing through walls and floors to check for guards and security systems. She came back and whispered to Jake, "There are 12 guards on the next level, but they're all watching the main entrance. If we go through the side wall, we can avoid them completely." Jake nodded and signaled for his team to follow Mary. They moved through the wall like it was made of water, their bodies shifting between dimensions. On the other side, they found themselves in a storage room filled with alien weapons and equipment. At the same time, Kate Davis and her team were infiltrating the Geneva facility. This was the most important target because it controlled the entire gravitational extraction system. If they could shut it down, they could stop the aliens from draining Earth's life force. Kate phased through layer after layer of security barriers. The aliens had built this facility to be completely secure, but they had never imagined an enemy that could walk through solid matter. Their most advanced defenses were useless against humans who existed between dimensions. Amy Foster's team was attacking the New York facility. She knew these tunnels better than anyone, having grown up in them. She led her team through passages that the aliens didn't even know existed, bringing them right to the heart of the alien base. "Remember," Amy whispered to her team, "we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every planet the aliens have destroyed. We're fighting for every world they plan to kill in the future." All around the world, the other teams were having similar success. The aliens had no defense against enemies who could become invisible, phase through walls, and exist in multiple places at once. Guards stood at their posts, watching empty corridors, never knowing that humans were walking right past them. Tony Clark had been waiting for this moment for years. As an inside spy, his job was to disable the security systems from within when the attacks began. He sat at his guard station and quietly typed commands into the alien computer system, turning off alarms and cameras throughout the base. Jake's team reached the 10th level of the Moscow facility. Here, the security was much tighter. There were energy barriers that even phasing humans couldn't pass through, and guard robots that never slept. "We need a distraction," Jake whispered to his team. Ryan Cole nodded and created 5 copies of himself. The copies ran down different corridors, making noise and triggering alarms. The guard robots chased after the copies, leaving the main passage clear. "Now," Jake said, and his team rushed through the opening. They reached the main computer room. Just as Ryan's copies disappeared, Kevin Brooks immediately went to work, searching for the right connection point for the virus. The alien computer system was complex, with thousands of cables and connections. "I found it," Kevin said. He plugged in the virus device, and immediately the alien computer screens began flashing with warning messages. In Geneva, Kate Davis was having more trouble. The main control center was protected by the most advanced security in the alien empire. But Kate's team had trained for this moment their entire lives. "Use everything we've got," Kate told her team. "Phase through the energy barriers, become invisible to avoid the sensors, and create copies to confuse the guards." The team moved like a coordinated dance. They phased, disappeared, and multiplied, moving through the alien defenses like water, flowing around rocks. Nothing the aliens had built could stop them. Meanwhile, Amy Foster's team had reached the core of the New York facility. Amy was amazed at what she saw. The aliens had built a massive machine that went deep into the Earth's crust. Energy flowed up from the planet's core, being converted into power for the alien empire. "So this is how they're killing our world," Amy said. She felt anger building inside her as she watched Earth's life force being stolen. Her team planted the virus and additional explosive charges. When the computer system shut down, the explosives would destroy the extraction equipment completely. Back in Moscow, Jake's team was preparing to leave when alarms began sounding throughout the facility. The aliens had finally realized they were under attack. "They know we're here," Mary said, "but they don't know where we are." Jake smiled. The aliens could see that their systems were being attacked, but their sensors couldn't detect the human attackers. To them, it looked like their own computers were malfunctioning for no reason. "Let's get out of here," Jake said. His team phased through the walls and began making their way back to the surface dot in Geneva. Kate's team had successfully uploaded the virus to the main control center. But as they tried to leave, they encountered heavy resistance. Alien guards were flooding the area, trying to find the invisible intruders. "We're surrounded," one of Kate's team members said. "Then we go through them," Kate replied. She phased her entire team through the floor, dropping them into the level below. The aliens fired their weapons at empty air, while the humans escaped. Through solid concrete, Amy's team was the last to complete their mission. The New York facility was now completely shut down, its extraction equipment destroyed. Amy looked back at the ruined alien machinery and felt satisfaction. Earth would be a little bit safer now. All around the world, the other teams were reporting success. The virus was spreading through the alien computer network faster than the aliens could stop it. One by one, their facilities were shutting down. Doctor Lisa Carter monitored the virus from the underground command center. She watched as alien systems across the globe went offline. "It's working," she said with excitement. "The virus is in their main network. All their systems are shutting down." But the aliens were not giving up without a fight. As their Earth-based facilities failed, they began sending ships from other worlds to investigate. Soon, alien warships would arrive in Earth's solar system. "We need to be ready for the next phase," Jake said over the radio. "The aliens will send reinforcements. But when they get here, they'll find that Earth is no longer defenseless." Ryan Cole had been working on something special during the mission. While the other teams were attacking facilities, he had been planting devices that would create a massive electromagnetic pulse. When activated, it would disable every alien ship in the solar system. "I'm in position," Ryan reported. "When their ships arrive, I can shut them all down at once." The final part of the plan was the most dangerous. Dr. Paul Green had discovered that the gravitational extraction system could be reversed. Instead of draining Earth's energy, it could be used to restore the planet's strength. But doing so would require someone to stay behind in the Geneva facility and manually operate the controls. Kate Davis volunteered for this final mission. "I'll stay and reverse the process," she said. "It might take hours, but I can keep the systems running long enough to heal Earth." "It's too dangerous," Jake said. "The aliens will throw everything they have at Geneva once they realize what's happening." "Then you'll have to hold them off," Kate replied. "This is our only chance to save Earth completely." Helen Price had been monitoring the planet's gravitational field from the underground base. As the extraction system shut down around the world, she could see the improvement immediately. "It's working," Helen said with tears in her eyes. "Earth's gravitational field is stabilizing. The planet is healing." But their victory came at a cost. The Geneva facility was under massive attack as alien reinforcements arrived. Kate Davis and her team were trapped inside, fighting to keep the restoration process running. Amy Foster led a rescue mission through the tunnels. "We're not leaving anyone behind," she said. Her team fought their way through alien forces to reach the Geneva facility. Jake Morrison coordinated the global defense. Human teams that had been hidden for 300 years emerged from their hiding places to fight openly for the first time. They used their special abilities to attack alien forces throughout the world. The battle lasted for hours. But gradually, the humans began to win. Their abilities to phase through matter, become invisible, and exist in multiple places at once gave them advantages the aliens couldn't counter. When the sun rose over Earth, the planet was free for the first time in 300 years. The alien empire's capital had fallen. Their extraction systems were destroyed, and their fleet was disabled. Jake stood on the surface of Earth and looked up at the sky. For the first time in